This is the Voice for Real Estate podcast. Whether you're buying a home, building a home, or designing a home, you'll meet the local experts who can provide all the information you need in every episode of Voice for Real Estate. And be sure to subscribe, share, and comment so you don't miss a single episode of Voice for Real Estate.
I am so excited today. We have a special edition of Voice for Real Estate. South Carolina Women in Real Estate. And with us today is Ruthie Ravenel. Ruthie, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate you spending time with us.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
I got to say, part of this started with the photo shoot for Charleston's Women in Real Estate. Really enjoyed having you there. Wasn't that a lot of fun?
Oh, I love it. It's any chance I get to meet some of my colleagues and be on camera and pretend like I'm laid back is great.
No, you were great. You kept everybody in stitches. You had some great jokes you were telling. The Ravenels have been part of the makeup of America for so long. Did you tell me earlier this morning is 1680? What were you saying about 1680?
Charleston was founded as Charlestown in the late 17th century, and many of the immigrants who came across the pond were from England and also France. We had a strong French Huguenot population who came over and established residency primarily along the rivers, sort of inland from Charleston, and lots of plantations and stuff were established. The Ravenel family was part of that immigration from France. There was something called the Revocation of the Edict of Nantes, which basically revoked religious freedom in France. And so we were French Protestants and came over, and the original immigrant came from the Huguenot section of France and established a whole community here. And
that's very
a lot
cool.
of people are related in Charleston with lots of French names.
That is so true. I bet when people from outside the area come here, and if you do get a chance to tell that story, I bet they like it, don't they, Ruthie?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a huge part of what makes me who I am. I mean we've always attended the French Huguenot Church here in Charleston, which is the only Huguenot church building in the whole Western Hemisphere. So wow. We have a great diaspora of Huguenot ancestry across the world, really, and Charleston is a real stalwart for that, and we've always been really involved. History is something that runs in our family.
And history in Charleston runs deep, doesn't it? I know at the photo shoot you were talking about the elections and telling jokes and stuff. You got two children. You've got a 5 and a 3-year-old, did you say?
I do. I have a 5 and a 3-year-old, and my husband is from Connecticut, and he loves a good dad joke. So, it's just funny. I like to keep things light. Too many people take themselves too seriously.
I've known your dad for a long time. But when you first came back to town and then you started at the real estate, did you have any idea you were going to enjoy it as much as selling real estate and connecting buyers with properties as you do, Ruthie? Did you have any idea you were going to like that much?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. I've been around the industry my whole life. I love to tell the joke that the day I was born, my mom had to sign closing paperwork in the hospital for a multifamily property that my father was purchasing. So I was sort of born to do this. I didn't really realize it.
That's a cool story, Ruthie. That's cool.
Yeah, he still owns it today. It's increased in value significantly, but it's always been, dinner table conversation when we were little, and building wealth through real estate investment has always been a huge part of our family's plan. And so I've always really been around it. I was actually living in Park City, Utah at the time when I decided to make the move back to Charleston and work for my father. And I was actually just going to do operations, work in the office, help with managing, the business. It's not a small task, of course, as you know. And basically the marketing director quit right when I started. And so I decided that I was going to have to learn how to do marketing. So it was a great entry into the profession. I learned a lot about buyers and sellers' expectations, how to really present property in the appropriate way. And of course, with Sotheby's International Realty, we have an incredible brand behind us. And so really getting the introduction in that way kind of was a foray into sales for me. I didn't really start selling until 2013 and 14. So I haven't really been doing it that long, but the basics were there, and the passion is there. And truly all it is meeting new people and shopping. So it's like my favorite two things.
So your dad, I can vividly remember how good he was at at listings. I mean, he really enjoyed helping people find that buyer for that house and stuff. Is that still part of the basis of the Ravenel real estate?
Oh, absolutely. He who lists last, as they say in the industry. And I think it's about helping people. It's about understanding the needs, understanding, what the priorities of a seller is. Of course, everybody wants to get the most amount of money for their house, but some sellers might want to get a sale a lot faster than others. Some people may want to price it a little higher, stretch the market. And some people want to get out of a sticky situation, if there's a divorce or a health problem. So the motivations of sellers always depend on each particular situation. So there's not one size fits all that goes with selling and listing property. But it's really all about the marketing, and it's all about making sure that you're doing the absolute most you can do to present the property in the right light.
Be part of the conversation surrounding Mount Pleasant. Sponsor the Mount Pleasant Podcast. Podcast marketing is the new, powerful way to brand your business and reach your customers. For more information, visit carolinapodcasts.com or call 843-345-7012.
You're listening to the Voice for Real Estate podcast, a conversation about coastal Carolina real estate.
I remember, as you know, in Mount Pleasant magazine that produces the podcast that we're doing, we do the top 10 homes sold frequently throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, we do the top 10 homes sold for the entire year, which as publisher, I get excited about. If you go to top10homesold.com, you can see the most expensive homes sold, top 10, dating back to 2017. I can vividly remember you sold that house in Pawleys Island. You think it's going to be more common for realtors to be selling along the coast and not just in their certain areas? Do you think that's something that the consumer is going to look for down the road, or is it already here to some extent?
I think it's absolutely already here. We are a coastal real estate firm. We focus on waterfront properties and historic properties. The high end of the market is where we thrive with Sotheby's International Realty as a luxury brand. Of course, it skews a little bit on the higher end of the market. That doesn't mean that we don't give great service to every home and every price point. But when you are in a luxury brand like Sotheby's International Realty, you really do have the ability to provide so much more to a seller. And that's what happened in Pawleys Island. As you know, Pawleys Island is about 2 hours away from Charleston, where my office is. But the seller, really demanded a high level of service that he couldn't quite find in that market. And so we have really thrived outside of the immediate Charleston area. We've sold property in the upstate of South Carolina. We've sold many properties in Columbia area. And we've actually expanded. Last year, we merged with Celia Dunn, Sotheby's International Realty. And so now our office in Charleston is the corporate headquarters for a 4-office, 5-market area.
Once in a generation, the fates align and an opportunity comes into focus. In our business, it is rare to find 2 organizations such as ours that share like-minded values, seasoned leadership, and a devotion to the craft of luxury residential real estate. It is with this in mind that we announce an exciting merger of 2 powerhouse real estate firms along the South Carolina and Georgia coastline.
Well, Celia brought the opportunity to us, and I think it's one of the greatest compliments I've received as a businessman. And we certainly are thrilled with the opportunity that she's presented us. There's always been a lot of spin-over. Always been people coming to Savannah that decide they want to be in Charleston to Savannah. That's going to continue to happen. We'll be better able to serve those people.
He's a genuinely good person. And he's honorable and ethical and all the things that I love in a person. And all the things I love and respect in someone who is buying a company. But Dan, I've sort of known through the years, through real estate. And it's just so amazing that here we are coming together as a new company. I feel very loyal to them because I think they are very loyal to me. And I think they are a wonderful family, Dan, Daniel, and Ruthie. And I feel so fortunate that we have somebody buying the company who are good people, who are highly ethical, highly honorable. The type person who we have tried to be, and I want it to be great. And I see that it's going to be great.
Celia's been doing it right. It's our purpose to continue that and to improve on it in small ways. But she knows what we'll do. She knows that we'll take good care of her legacy.
So
you're selling real estate in Savannah?
Yes, we have an office in Savannah, Bluffton and Hilton Head, and we're servicing Beaufort and, of course, Pawleys Island to our north. So, and that move was a strategic one for our company and our family, because we really do believe that the sellers and the buyers who are coming to this area don't know where they want to be. They know what they want, they know how they want to live, but they're not familiar enough with the area to make a decision between Charleston or Beaufort or Savannah. And so having the ability to keep that buyer within our company across the entire coastline, really, of the whole region has been a huge value add for us. And, there's always growing pains, but we have found that we've just tripled in size, and the level of service has remained really, really high.
How about the culture? Because they've been around a long time.
Yeah, well, Celia Dunn Sotheby's International Realty actually started only 2 years before Daniel Ravenel Sotheby's International Realty. And they were a small boutique firm in Savannah, family owned, very boutique, luxury oriented. And we have long been very close friends with Celia Dunn and Larry and the whole team down there. We've known them all very well for a long time. It was an opportunity we couldn't say no to. Celia picked up the phone one Friday afternoon and called me, my brother, and Dan, my father, and asked us to buy the company. We were all in different places, and we all said yes without talking to each other. So it was a no-brainer, and it's been a really wonderful, it's a merger, it's a marriage of the two companies, and we have great leaders in that southern region that we have acquired. And
that's as fun a story as your mom signing paperwork while you're giving birth to you. I mean, seriously, that's pretty cool.
It is.
Really
Last year we did 850 million in sales. So we're really excited. It's been a delight.
Let's talk about sales, because the market, we got higher interest rates now. It's a much friendlier buyer's market. Would you concur with that as an agent?
Well, I think I wouldn't call it a buyer's market per se. It's a little bit less competitive. There are a few people in the marketplace, not quite as much competition. Instead of 12 offers on a house, we're getting 2 offers on a house. But we're having a huge inventory problem. And part of that is related to the interest rate, because when you have a seller who's in a property, they may not have enough space. They may want to size up. They don't see anything out there for sale that they're really excited about. Plus, they're at a 2.5% interest rate. They're going to have to go buy something at a 6, 7, 8% rate. And so it's keeping them from making the decision to go on the market. Now, our inventory dropped like 80% at the worst peak part of the COVID boom. And so that has definitely eased up a little bit. It was under 1,000 listings in the Charleston MLS, which is 1/5 of what is
how many listings are out there right now?
Right now, it's about 3,000. So we're still well below what we would consider to be an average number of listings, which was about 5,500. But it's still definitely it's gotten a lot better since the rates have started to go up. And that was the intention, of course, of the Fed, to try to cool things off a little bit.
What do you like most about the current condition and the current trends in real estate? What do you like most?
Well, it's nice to be able to breathe every now and then. During the peak of the COVID boom, we were having, a listing would hit the market and you would have 10 showings in the first day. And if you didn't get your offer in the first 12 hours of the listing going live, you didn't even have the opportunity. Nowadays, we're seeing things sit a little bit longer. I'm not saying they're sitting for months and months, but There's definitely a little bit more time for buyers to kind of take a deep breath and get their financing together and make sure that they feel comfortable with the property. And what we're also seeing is more people are going through with transactions as opposed to getting buyer's remorse, because when you have to make a decision that quickly, it can sometimes be the wrong decision. And so we were seeing things fall out of contract during that frenzy.
You're a fresh, smart face into this. You to the industry, you bring so much to the table, Ruthie. I commend you for that. What did you learn most from the COVID, as you said, the COVID explosion?
I actually wrote a blog post in March when I was locked in my house, and I said, we're going to see this. This is not the end of the industry. This is not the end of the world. We're going to see people come to Charleston from all over the country. People are leaving major metros. We have seen that bear out, and it will continue to do that. What I learned is, you can't replace good old fashioned hard work and trusting in your clients, trusting in the process. You have to allow the fundamentals to remain in place, because it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to get, get caught up in what's going on. And the reality is the right house will come at the right time. You can't get hung up on the market or the news or what you're hearing. Everything happens for a reason.
You're saying that one of the things you work on is making sure your clients don't get frustrated.
Exactly. You have to be patient, and you have to know that things do work out the way they're supposed to. And I've always believed that. And the more years I do this, the more true it feels. But there's no replacement for the fundamentals of caring about your clients, doing the right thing, keeping ethics in front of everything that you do. I mean, it's, everybody says, I'll do whatever it takes to get the deal done. And that's a great sentiment, but I'm not going to betray my values or my ethics. And that, I think,
is
true
to yourself, right? Be true to yourself. Here we are, y'all, we're in the cotton dock, and we've got the big group shot of South Carolina women in real estate, and Ruthie joined us because she definitely is a player, and you make it happen. And your approach to things was really cool. And you were telling jokes about going to Alexa. We put this on all the different audio platforms and, of course, YouTube, and it allows people from around the world to learn about you, to learn about Sotheby's, to learn about the merger, and they do it through Alexa.
People all over the globe are listening to the Voice for Real Estate podcast. Listen to how easy this is. Hey, Alexa, play the latest episode of Voice for Real Estate podcast.
Playing Voice for Real Estate from Amazon Music. Here's the latest episode. Susie Smith, Realtor with Carolina One Real Estate.
This is the Voice for Real Estate podcast.
Here we are for another edition of Voice for Real Estate. And I just thought that was so cool when you were there talking about your kids. Wasn't it your children wanted to hear a joke about something? What was that? What was that about again? Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we ask Alexa to tell us jokes, and sometimes she strikes out, but I heard some funny ones. It was I just think it's important to keep a good sense of humor in life. It's tough out there, it's tough being in real estate. It's tough having a family. It's hard to keep it all together and have a good attitude. So I always use humor.
You are South Carolina women in real estate. You do bring a fresh face with a lot of intellect of the industry behind you. But if you could give advice to balancing between your work and your family to our listeners and audience, what would that advice be?
I think the biggest thing for me in life is just remembering to show gratitude. Anytime you're in a stressful situation and you feel negative about things, just say, let's not focus on the negative. Let's focus on what I'm grateful for. Let's say my client didn't get the house they love. That's okay, because we've learned a lot. We went through the contract. We went through the process. And I'm grateful that my client believes in me and is a nice person, My only rule in real estate, I don't have a price point that I work with. I don't have a specific area in town that I work with. My only rule, and I tell everybody this, I will only work for nice people. And that's really been my goal. It's not about the number of transactions. It's not about how many deals I do or how much money I bring home. It's about how I'm spending my days. And if I if I can wake up in the morning and be grateful that I have appointments with these people and I get to show this house and I get to do this and that, I'm grateful every day. And I think that that is something that you can really, lean on in stressful times.
So if you're grateful every day and you're aware of that mindset, that helps you manage your family in general. Well, let me ask you something about working for nice people. How about host of podcasts? Do you only do podcast interviews with nice podcast interviewers?
Exactly. I would never have agreed to do this if it wasn't for you, Bill.
Hey, Ruthie, thanks a lot. This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy sharing this with the marketplace. And again, thank you so much for being you. And do me a favor. Next time you see your dad, tell him Bill said hi.
I will. I'll be sure to show him the podcast.
Thank you very much, Ruthie.
All right. Have a great day.
You as well.
Thanks for watching Voice for Real Estate, where you meet local experts who provide timely information in every episode. Be sure to subscribe, share, and comment. Find Voice for Real Estate online at voiceforrealestate.com.